Hey guys, so I want to talk about some stuff today that I think important for you to have in your life, and that is socializing. I think it's a probably underrated aspect of life. I mean, we that maybe we all take for granted, but socializing in general is, I think, maybe the most important thing next to your health. Having a social network, and I don't just mean social media, but I mean real connections. And I want to talk about how I believe you can better enrich multiple aspects of your life from this simply socializing. From things like dating to things like jobs to things like overall happiness. Socializing, having a social network of people that you really can lean towards, talk to, and enjoy each other's company is one of, I think, life's many important aspects, if not one of my top three. So I want to give some context. I myself am quite extroverted leaning. I have tendencies to want to socialize. While this sort of thing comes a bit easier to me, it certainly wasn't natural, especially not from the beginning. When I was a teenager, I was definitely more of the introverted side, kind of flipping from being a kid and being extroverted, going into being introverted, then back out. And over time, thanks to the nature of my job that I worked in, being retail, I managed to develop skills or just kind of innately pick up how to better engage with people. It's something that happens easier as you get older if you really try and put yourself out there, which is what I'm wanting to talk about today. A lot of people in our day and age have a tendency, especially with the current state of technology, to want to kind of shy away from conversations, initiating conversations, and initiating friendships, initiating just generally being social. So I want to share some things that I think are good attributes and traits to have when looking to be more social. My first one, which would probably seem obvious, but it's just basically being authentic. If you are in your teens or 20s, early to mid 20s, you probably already have this down, assuming you're somebody that's not entirely introverted. You probably are your authentic self already. But I want to say, if you have any resistance to being authentic, you should try and work on putting that out of your mind. What I have found, having reached my 30s, is that the people that want to know you will want to know you. So long as you are respectful to them, that's all they'll need. So how do you go about being social when maybe you don't already have the network available to take advantage of? There are things like a social league sports team if you're into that. Even these meeting apps which bring people together of various different types of hobbies, gaming, art, technology, you name it, they probably have a category for your specific thing. I've seen things like Dungeons and Dragons on these meeting up apps, and people go to them, even newcomers. So there are ways that you can take advantage of technology despite it also being a separator. Doing this sort of thing while you're in your 20s will allow you to grab the skills that you need going forward to keep friendships around, make new ones easier, and basically integrate in amongst other peers that you might want to get to know. And even if you're not in your 20s, these skill sets can be learned at any point in time. It's not like you're going to miss out on something the older you get with socializing. It's a skill that can be picked up at any time, used at any point, and no one can tell you you don't meet the requirements. I find the best people to actually try and expand your network with is people younger than yourself, especially when you reach an older age where many people have settled down or have just settled into life in such a way where they're not going out as often or making steps to find or expand their social networks or social circles. The only downside to this sort of thing with making friends younger than yourself, depending on the gap, is that it may be difficult to bridge that maturity gap between you and those people. But I find by living in the moment and just expressing yourself, and again being authentic to what you like, you will find that even the younger people that are less mature than you will want to kind of talk to you and get to know you. You may not form those strong bonds like some people have, but some sort of bond is better than nothing. Being able to have some sort of conversation with people every day, and not just one that is surface level, but one that is particularly engaging in how you talk to them and what you talk about. So the sooner you start to socialize, the easier it gets, just like anything. But with socializing, it's never too late. Unlike some other things that kind of life determines for you, socializing is something that can be done at any age and is vital to how you have a happy life, in my opinion at the very least. Socializing will bring many aspects to your life that will make things easier for you. If you're having a hard time at work, just got broken up with, or you don't understand what to do next, being able to have a social circle, a social network of people you can talk to about this, especially ones that might have gone through similar things, is really rewarding and makes for things like anxiety and introversion easier. Being able to discuss things with people that you know to be your peers and on the same level as you makes life so much better. And eventually these social circles and lives eventually lead to friendship, which can expand out into different areas. And friendships is really what we get out of socializing. And I believe in my experience that friendships are possibly one of the best things you can have in life. Yes, people will say friendships come and go and won't last forever, but having these social skill sets that you developed will make it easier to be able to form new and various friendships later in life. Life is unfortunately, or fortunately, not a linear path, which is why it's so important we develop skill sets for socializing. So many people these days take it for granted, and it's easy to take it for granted as well, with so many things that are able to distract us and kind of keep our emotions sedated. This video was a bit of a ramble. I kind of wanted to talk about the idea of socializing, what social networks and friendships mean to me. So I hope you got some value out of this. I never really have a script going into any of these. They take me a lot of pauses and breaks to figure out what I want to say, but usually I have an idea in mind of what I really kind of want to talk about. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. I really do think that forming friendships and connections particularly is important, and maybe important than things like dating even, which is probably a controversial take, but I think that is true to a degree. I'm not saying you shouldn't go out and date or you shouldn't focus on other aspects, but I think I definitely hold connections and friendships quite highly based on my experiences. So go out and get those connections if you can. Make steps. Don't be afraid to take those steps. Don't be afraid to be authentic with someone. If you're introverted, that's okay. Make little steps to be able to talk to people. If it's just something small, like complimenting somebody on something, that will kind of initiate a conversation sometimes. They will probably ask you something based on what you've said. And so that makes the whole forming connections and socializing a lot easier. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this video up here. And I just want to say you could have been anywhere in the world right now watching any other video, but you were here with me watching this one. So I appreciate that.
Mozzarella, I write rhymes in a box of Nutella. Fight crime cause I got no Beretta. Did time cause I copped some feta. Not good enough to sub for cheddar. I want cheese, I'm a decent fella.